Like all regular people I grew up with in the heartland, JD studied at Yale, had his career funded by Silicon Valley billionaires, and then wrote a bestseller trashing that community. Come on! That's not what middle America is. And I got to tell you, I can't wait to debate the guy. That is, if he's willing to get off the couch and show up. So, you see what I did
there? Vice President Harris is like, I'm having a hard time not laughing. Her face when he makes that joke. Her motto has been, when we fight, we win. Tim Walz introducing himself to the country tonight as a fighter, but obviously one with a somewhat wicked sense of humor. And that brings us to our next guest, in a way. David Hogg, you know, as a survivor of the Parkland shooting and an activist for gun safety ever since. After Vice President Harris announced Governor Walz as her running mate, David Hogg wrote about Walz's record. His record as a gun owner and a hunter who has nevertheless been willing to face down the NRA. David Hogg saying, quote, Tim Walz is a gun safety champion who can bridge the divide. And he's been a bold leader as governor when he made the courageous and principled decision to give back the NRA's contributions after the shooting in Parkland. We are beyond excited to get to work to help put the Harris-Walz ticket in the White House. Let's go with 4 O's. David Hogg said, quote, young people are fired up like I've never seen to vote in this election, and Governor Walz is turbocharging that. And my friend Joy Reid has David Hogg standing by now. Joy.
Thank you very much, my friend. And now joining us is the aforementioned David Hogg, the founder and president of Leaders We Deserve, March for Our Lives co-founder and former Parkland student, David Hogg. All right, David, last time I had you on my show, you predicted, stumped for, pitched for, you were the big pitch man for Tim Walz. How happy are you, and how happy are I like to call them the internet kids. That's because I'm old.
I have not been this happy in years. Honestly, it's such a breath of fresh air to feel hope. Right? Everybody in America knows somebody like Tim Walz, and he's the guy who is always there to help you, whether it's changing your oil, whether it's fixing a lawnmower, or whether it's helping to fix our democracy. He is always there for us. And at the same time, everybody in America knows a J.D. Vance, but we stay away from him because he's weird, right? Tim Walz is always there, and he's not a politician. He's a teacher, he's a veteran, he's a coach, and he's a father, right? The biggest endorsement that I saw by far that gave me so much confidence wasn't just what other people were saying about him, but it was actually the videos that I saw of Governor Walz with his daughter when he was, doing a PSA, for example, about fighting distracted driving, and how genuine the relationship was. His own daughter's endorsement of him and the relationship that they have said all that I needed to know to get behind him back 2 weeks ago when I started going crazy on Twitter, talking about him constantly, to the point that people were asking me if I was paid by Governor Walz. And the fact of the matter is, I wish I was, because I would have made a lot of money, but I wasn't. I just genuinely love the man. I saw him speak in the Nebraska State Democratic Convention, and he just brought me so much hope. And I remember texting people back in February. I said, Walz, I'm not making this up. They were texting me these texts again. They said, back in February, I was saying that Walz would be an amazing VP to a number of my friends. Of course, I didn't expect that in this election season, though. And it feels so good to have hope.
Yeah. Is this about, as far as Vice President Harris, is this about her listening? Because there was a very strong, it's not just internet-based, but youth movement for Tim Walz. And that was very clear who young Americans wanted, who young voters wanted. Is that what this is about, that younger folks like yourself, gun reform activists like yourself, feel listened to by the VP?
I think that is certainly part of it, Joy, but it comes down to the fact that, look, he's not just a choice to make sure that we don't do any harm. More than anything, he is a great choice. He is so experienced. Between the fact that his district for Congress, Trump won that district by 15%, and he still won there. And he won over 6 times in that deeply red district, and he's been an extremely successful governor. The reason why young people were behind him more than anything is because of that experience and the track record. Young people want somebody who's delivered and can get things done. And that is what Tim Walz has shown over and over again, along with his, incredible early support of things like gay marriage in that competitive district and so much more. But it's also about the younger candidates that are out there running too that I saw were so supportive of him. At Leaders We Deserve, we're helping to get young people running for office to help to reinforce that youth vote around the country, to give other young people to vote for down ballot so they turn out and vote and know that while this is the party of Kamala Harris, obviously, and Tim Walz and Chuck Schumer and Nancy Pelosi and Joe Biden, it's also the party of people like Congressman Maxwell Frost, who was March for Our Lives former organizing director, and so many others. So if anybody wants to support us in that effort, they can go to leaderswedeserve.com because we're grassroots funded. Our candidates don't take corporate money. And we just won a race in Houston, Texas that we spent $300,000 on. And our candidate there became the youngest person in the state Senate by 62 votes. Every single vote in these elections counts, folks. So if you can, please support us at leaderswedeserve.com.
David Hogg, you may not have had any coins on the table, but the moral victory is yours, my friend. You were the big predictor of this VP nominee. Thank you so much. Rachel.
I'm so happy.
Clearly.
He's very good at what he does.
He's
as well.
very good at what he does.